YouTube? It's Andy with All Things Fantasy, and in today's video, I want to look at a quick lineup review of a head-to-head against a pro like I did in a previous video. Um, and so this week I decided to play AdamLevitan, who is a very common, very well-known player in the daily fantasy industry, and I decided to play against him in head-to-head and in head-to-head on FanDuel. Now, this week was an interesting week because we had Le'Veon Bell go absolutely nuts. And FanDuel was one place where you could get David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell in your lineups and still afford decent guys. But I did not go that route. I leaned heavily on David Johnson over Le'Veon Bell. And obviously that was not the right move because of the massive gain Le'Veon Bell had. Because if you look at his lineup, like if you take Le'Veon Bell's game out, let's say he puts up if you take his game out, let's say he only puts up 15 points or something, then the matchup is a lot closer. But nonetheless, his lineup was a lot better. I'll review it really fast here for you. He went with a naked Andrew Luck, which I thought was really interesting. The Andrew Luck T.Y. Hilton stack would have been a good stack. I think it was just T.Y. Hilton's price, which is why he didn't have T.Y. Hilton in there. But he went naked Andrew Luck, David Johnson, and Le'Veon Bell, which obviously were the two best plays of the week. Obviously, David Johnson did not really meet value with only 14 points. There were a lot of better options. So fading David Johnson would have been a great move in tournaments. I talked about Bell already. He went with Sanders, who I thought was a great play. Sanders' salary has been really low recently, and he's been performing really well. So I definitely expect a spike in salary in future weeks. But yeah, he got him at a great price, and I definitely like the play. He also went Golden Tate, who was in a pretty good spot at home against Chicago. Didn't have a great game, but did give him 8 points. But for his price tag, obviously he wanted it a little bit more, but still not a bad play. And Taylor Gabriel, I also had Taylor Gabriel. This was a great play just for the opportunity that he was gonna have, and especially because Atlanta just had they put up 42 points as a team. And Julio Jones was out, so Taylor Gabriel was essentially their number one guy, and was going to get a lot of targets. And for his price, you couldn't go wrong. He was just, he was going to be really highly owned in cash. But yeah, honestly, I think 15.7 points. That was close. That was probably close to his floor. With the opportunity that he was going to get from this game. So. Cameron Braid, another good play, obviously against the Saints at home. I think that was just a smart move for his opportunity. And he went Vinatieri in Minnesota. I also had Minnesota just because I thought Minnesota was the only D that you could really trust in cash. But it turns out the Vikings ended up having put up a crazy amount of points. I think they had 2 touchdowns or something, and then the Packers had 5 picks. So their other defenses ended up having a game, but I think looking at it from the beginning of the week, the Vikings was the only D you could really trust. But yeah, so let's start from my. I really liked his lineup. I thought the plays that really helped them beat me were Andrew Luck at quarterback, Le'Veon Bell obviously, and Sanders. Yeah, all those guys played really well, and I think was really difference makers. As far as comparing to my lineup. So let's get into my lineup real fast. I went with a Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin stack, and I felt really good about this stack. I thought Green Bay's defense has been just giving up a ton of points to quarterbacks, and they've been they're giving up a lot of the deep plays to receivers, and I thought Seahawks have been kind of rolling a little bit. They struggled against Tampa Bay, but people kind of thought that was an outlier game, and Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, were clicking at the end of last season. People thought the same thing was happening again, and they looked good. Russell Wilson looked really good the other day, so let me see how the offense did last week. But this week, whether it was the weather or whatever it was, yeah, Russell Wilson just could not figure it out in Green Bay. He just couldn't figure it out on the road, and he threw 5 picks, which was just so sad to see. And, 5 interceptions. That just kills you right away. Like, obviously, if he doesn't have those picks, maybe he puts up a decent total. He had 1 touchdown, 240 yards, and he had some rushing yards, which helped. But 5 picks really kills a lineup. Really kills 5 picks really kills your quarterback right there. David Johnson, I already explained. I know Jordan Howard. I thought Jordan Howard was gonna have a great matchup against Detroit. They leaned on him heavily last week. I thought they would probably do the same thing again, and it just really didn't really work out. I mean, decent numbers, right? He had 24 receiving yards and 86 rushing yards, but he didn't get the touchdowns that I thought he would get, and that kind of hurt his value. So Doug Baldwin, obviously, that stack was not the good stack, but I mean, if you think about it, there were not too many great stacks out there. Like, if you had an Eli OBJ stack, Eli did not have a good game. If you had a I guess a Rodgers Jordy stack would have probably been pretty good. And, pretty low on too, going to Seattle's D. So, but Seattle's D, a weakened Seattle's D, keep in mind. But yeah, and Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton stack was obviously going to be one of the better stacks of the week. But yeah, Big Ben, Antonio Brown stack didn't hit this week because Le'Veon Bell took every single point available in that game. It seemed like. There really wasn't too many. Kirk Cousins, Jameson Crowder stack was kind of popular maybe, and Jameson Crowder didn't really hit. Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Jackson might have been a little bit better, but no crazy great stacks this week as far as quarterback receivers goes. So just something to keep in mind there. So I guess that gets into Jameson Crowder. James Crowder did not have the game I think people expected him to have. He's been so consistent and getting a touchdown every game and just having really good upside and having these big and performing when it in the clutch when it came down and in crunch time, and that didn't happen for him this week. And obviously you look at a guy like Golden Tate for a similar price. Emmanuel Sanders was a way better play at that price. Even though if you would have told me that Washington Phillies game total was going to be around 50, and then Denver Tennessee was going to be just over 20, I would have said I would take Jameson Crowder all day long. But it just so happens that Sanders got the only touchdown on his team, had 11 receptions and 100 receiving yards, and ended up being just an absolute great play. One of the best wide receiver plays, honestly, of the week. So I really don't hate myself for playing Jameson Crowder. It just didn't work out for me. Obviously, I explained Taylor Gabriel, with his opportunity and his price, you had to plug him in your cash lineups, and because he really helped you pay out for those higher price guys, and he was just a great play. The Darius Green I thought was going to be an awesome play. Going against Buffalo, I liked the amount of usage that he got last week, and I expect that to carry over. Maybe not the full. I didn't expect him really to get 100 yards, but I expected maybe a touchdown and at least a decent amount of usage, not 3.5 points worth. But it didn't happen. Like I said, Le'Veon Bell kind of sucked up all the points from that game, and all of Pittsburgh receivers didn't really have that great of games. And then obviously getting into like kickers, honestly I picked Matt Bryant because I thought Atlanta was going to put up a good amount of points against the Rams, and that happened, but it was all extra points. Like, he literally did not kick one field goal. Atlanta literally scored so many times. Like, I thought the Rams maybe stopped them a couple times, and they ended up kicking field goals or whatever. Like, and obviously, if he had 4 extra points and a couple field goals, that's 10 points right there. But it's all ended up being extra points, so it kind of didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. But that's the way kickers are. You can have a team, put up, you can have a team kick all field goals and put up 15 points, and the kicker has all of them, right? Like, so that's just the way it goes sometimes. But here's Terry, who I thought was a decent play, but I thought you couldn't go wrong with a Matt Bryant in that spot. I thought he was gonna have a huge game, but he didn't. And the Vikings defense, I already talked about that. But yeah, like, really disappointing day in cash. I had a lot of Russell Wilson, Baldwin exposure. I had a lot of Big Ben, Antonio Brown exposure, and it really bites. It really did bite. I guess looking back on it, I honestly thought I had a Le'Veon Bell lineup. Guess kind of like a hedge play. So like if my Big Ben Brown stacks didn't hit, I had Le'Veon Bell lineup that I would have Le'Veon Bell in a different lineup, to hopefully help that lineup do really well, and I didn't, and that really bites. But I'll definitely make sure I have those hedge plays in next time. But yeah, so overall, a really bad week for me. Took a big hit. Lost a lot of cash. Lost all my tournaments. Actually, well, I'm still in the contention for a tournament. That was a Thursday and Monday tournament, but yeah. Tough week for me today. Hopefully we'll rebound next week. I'm definitely going to be hitting it hard as far as research goes. I'll have a preview video hopefully pretty soon. But yeah, that was my that was a lineup review of my head-to-head versus AdamLevitan. And next week, hopefully I'll remember and play another pro next week, heads up, so I can do another one of these review videos. But like always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.